The government has warned that there will be no one-off cost of living payments in Budget 2026. US President Donald Trump's latest threat of a 30% tariff on EU goods has been described as a moment of major economic challenge by Tánaiste Simon Harris.
October's budget is still 3 months away, but rising household prices and US President Donald Trump's latest tariff threats mean cost of living supports are now firmly back on the political forecasts. Government warning the first storm clouds are now on the horizon.
It's clear that our country is now at a moment of major economic challenge, and we're going to have to pull together in the hours and days ahead as we try to navigate our way through the latest scenario in relation to trade and tariffs. And if you arrived at a scenario where there were 30% tariffs, the impact of that is quite extraordinary.
We will not be doing one-off cost of living payments in this year's budget. What we are saying, though, in the context of Budget 2026, is that the decisions we take, we want to make sure they're permanent, sustained and sustainable.
That position disputed in the Dáil, where opposition accused government of missing the point.
People frankly can't believe their ears when they hear you talk as if sky-high living costs they experience every day are a thing of the past. Extortionate prices are not past tense, Taoiseach.
What's interesting is, of course, government did an awful lot. We did more than any other European government, actually, in terms of cushioning and trying to reduce the impact of that cost of living increases on people.
We heard this morning from the government that we're facing an era of restraint, austerity, in other words. So we had 2 pre-election budgets with once-off payments, and now after the election we have a return to austerity budget.
A view repeated outside the chamber too.
It is quite worrying, the news that we're hearing in relation to the tariffs. But people will need support in the upcoming budget. I mean, there's a lot of people who are still really struggling.
It's inevitable US President Donald Trump's tariff threats will influence government's budget plans. The question now for the coalition is how it addresses one issue without ignoring the other. Fiar Crocula, RTÉ News, Leinster House.
Well, let's get the latest now from our Washington correspondent Sean Whelan, who's standing by. Sean, US inflation figures out today show that prices rose there again in June. So pressure to strike a trade deal on both sides of the Atlantic now, really, isn't it?
There is some pressure, although President Trump has been saying prices haven't really risen in the catastrophic way that some people said when he brought in the tariffs, although it has to be said the full impact of the tariffs that he has outlined have not begun yet, because he's deferred most of them until after August 1st at the earliest, because people are assuming that he is going to push them out into the future. Nevertheless, you do have a potential disruptive effect here in America, where there are talk about running down inventories and only getting the minimum of material in the system in America, to wait and see what happens with tariffs, and also the uncertainty that's happening in countries like Ireland. There are negotiations, however, ongoing, as we heard from Olaf Gill, the European Commission spokesman, earlier this morning.
I can confirm that Commissioner Šefčovič will have a call with the United States Trade Representative Jemison Greer this early evening. I can confirm that technical teams from the European Commission are on their way to Washington DC as we speak, and I am not going to go into any greater level of detail concerning the negotiations with the US because, as we all are very well aware, we are in the most sensitive stage of those negotiations right now.
So yes, a sensitive period the next couple of weeks leading up to that August 1st deadline. The Commission trying to get a deal in place as soon as they can. Their positive outlook on it has been echoed by Jemison Greer 6 weeks ago when the two men met in Paris at the OECD, and they both said, yes, it's, in fact Mr Greer particularly said, we're very close to a deal, the technical talks are ongoing and things are looking really good. 6 weeks later, President Trump threw a rock in the pond, and we don't know exactly how things stand at the moment. The talks are of course ongoing, and that is a good thing. Also in parallel, the Commission preparing retaliatory tariffs that Europe can apply to US imports should these talks fail after the 1st of August. That would be expected to apply to about 90 billion of US imports. Sharon?
Washington correspondent Sean Whelan, thank you.